Many of you guys, like myself, have experienced seasons of sorrow upon sorrow upon sorrow where it just doesn't seem to end. And maybe you entered this year with sickness or someone that you love sick or in the hospital, and it sometimes can feel so overwhelming, especially this time of year. So maybe you feel the same way I do, and you wish that in January and February we could just hibernate for a couple months, stay inside, just cozy up, don't see people, just, yeah. January's hard, and I feel like February's hard too. A lot of the darker months of the year are hard. And so I have been reading this book with a friend by Ellie Holcomb, and it's the perfect book for right now. It's actually a devotional, and my friend and I are going through this and talking through things as we read. But today's devotional was on Isaiah 53. So it was on Isaiah 53, verses 3 through 5. And if you're familiar with these verses, you know exactly which ones I'm talking about, but I'm going to read them to you, and I'm going to have to put on my glasses because I cannot see a thing. It says, "He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar with suffering. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed." So I love that she pointed out when we have those seasons of sorrow upon sorrow, or when we feel rejected and despised and forsaken and alone, that Jesus knows exactly how we feel because he experienced those things like to the nth degree. And she mentioned that this verse carries two promises: the promise of ultimate healing when Christ returns, but also the promise of companionship and comfort in our current situations, in our current circumstances. And to me, I was just very comforted by that today, and I don't know where you're at. Maybe you're going through that season where it's just sorrow upon sorrow. Maybe you feel very alone through this time of year. Take heart in these verses. And take heart in the two promises that are here in these verses. The promise of the ultimate healing that we will have when Christ returns. And then the promise of companionship and comfort in our current circumstances.